Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I'm fine. Kisumu is also fantastic. Maybe you could let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Shocking scenes were actually witnessed in Githurai today. Raila Odinga made an impromptu visit to the area, and the residents there started singing anti-William Ruto songs, and they were chanting, "Ruto must go." In this video, I want us to look at Raila Odinga's trip to Githurai. The trip was actually not really planned, but they decided yesterday to go to Githurai. And when they left Nairobi, their expectations were two. Number one, they expected to be kicked out of Githurai by business traders. Because remember, during the campaigns, Githurai was so dear to William Ruto and his team. They would always organize massive rallies in Githurai. And you remember the last time Raila Odinga went to Githurai, he was actually stoned, and they blamed Isaac Mwaura at that particular time, being that Mwaura was a candidate there, and a perception was being created that Raila Odinga did not have support in the area. So they expected the traders, because last time they were also attacked by the traders there, in quotes, were going to attack them. That did not happen. They also expected that if they were not going to be attacked, they were going to be ignored. But the residents actually joined them. But what were the objectives of Raila Odinga's trip to Githurai? Because if you've been following the politics of this country very closely, Raila Odinga has actually engaged the next gear in his campaigns. And it was expected that based on William Ruto's utterances, the residents there were going to reject them, but they embraced them. What were the objectives of this particular trip? Number one, in my view, I think there is a building rebellion. There's a rebellion in the mountain against Kenya Kwanza government, which is actually building. Raila Odinga, in my view, wanted to take advantage of that rebellion. If you've been following the politics of the mountain very closely of late, you should have noted that there were demonstrations in, was it Limuru last week? There were some in Gatundu North, and there have been several other demonstrations against Kenya Kwanza government. And just the other day, the combat traders threatened to lead demonstrations. And yesterday, I think Rigathi Gachagua invited them to a meeting in State House. I'm just looking at the letter where Rigathi Gachagua addressed the Nyamakima, Kamukunji, Kirinyaga Road, and Gikomba business community, where he actually summoned them for a meeting appointment with the Deputy President. This is what the letter says. Following your meeting this evening with the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, and your request for an appointment, this is to confirm that an appointment with the Deputy President has been set for Wednesday 1st. That is next week at 10 a.m. at Arambe House Annexed. There will be other top government and state agency officials so that your issues are addressed adequately. Please forward a list of 20 members to the undersigned for purposes of planning and comprehensive engagement. So basically it means that there is serious rebellion against Kenya Kwanza government in the mountain. And that's why Rigathi Gachagua actually thwarted the demonstrations by these traders by inviting them to a meeting. I'll not be surprised if, for example, in the next few days, we will see Rigathi Gachagua holding other meetings with the residents of the mountain. But the truth of the matter is that there is a growing rebellion against Kenya Kwanza government in the mountain. And because of those rebellion, Raila Odinga saw an opportunity. So he went there, these guys embraced him. And now that people are coming out clearly to speak, then it means Raila Odinga might be having some leverage. Number two, I also tend to think that Raila Odinga is keen on his people's consultative meetings. By holding this rally in Githurai, which is kind of cosmopolitan, but also kind of part of the mountain, you can't then accuse Raila Odinga of not engaging the people of the mountain. It's that simple. So that on Saturday, they will be in Kakamega, I think. Then from Kakamega, I think they'll be going to Mombasa. And then from Mombasa, I don't know the next place. But then now, even if they will decide to converge in Nairobi for the biggest march to State House, 1 million march to State House, then you can't say that they never visited Githurai. So strategically, they made that visit to Githurai, in my view, to fulfill that national rallies. Number three, I also tend to think that these guys, Raila Odinga, is actually keen on provoking Kenya Kwanza. You know, Raila Odinga is saying that he's going to hold mass action against the government. The next day, he goes right to their main support base. And the people there embrace him. So basically, he wanted to provoke Kenya Kwanza, see whether this time around they will also have another Mwaura in court to attack them. And once they are attacked, then a narrative was going to be created. If that was the plan, I think they are disappointed. And if you ask me, the other reason why they organized this meeting, in my view, is basically to gauge the reaction of the residents, especially on William Ruto's government. Are they still with William Ruto or are they not with William Ruto? The truth of the matter is that when William Ruto was campaigning, he succeeded in so many ways. The first way he succeeded was to persuade the people of the mountain that all their problems began and was going to end with a handshake. Right now, there's no handshake, but their problems are still there. The other mistake he made was that he made these people, for example, to hate Uhuru Kenyatta because Uhuru Kenyatta did not help them. Well, in real sense, if you have been keen, William Ruto has been kicking all Kikuyus from key positions and appointing or replacing them with Kalenjins. If you are in doubt, please look at the latest appointments at KRA. And importantly, the mountain are now seeing what Uhuru Kenyatta used to tell them. So if you ask me, it's all about gauging the reaction, because now I think we are heading to the 6th month, or is it the 5th month, which is now enough time to gauge whether the residents of the mountain are happy with the government or not. So for me, if you ask me, the residents of the mountain, just like the rest of the country, including those from Sugoi, are not really satisfied with the performance of the government as at this particular time. But for example, in Sugoi, they can't demonstrate. They have to support Ruto. But in Githurai, they can decide to support Raila Odinga because they feel that they've been disappointed. So for me, that's some other thing which they wanted to do to gauge the reaction. Number 4, in my view, is basically to take advantage of the state of economy to incite the residents. The economy of this country is doing very badly. And there are some factors which are actually beyond William Ruto. Some are beyond government. Some, like the dollar exchange rate, beyond them. And because of that state of economy, it's easier to actually engineer a revolution against the government. So basically, in my view, I'm looking at Raila Odinga's trip to Githurai as kind of taking advantage of the poor state of economy. For example, William Ruto promised Kenyan youths money, that I'm going to give you hustlers funds. Of course, he gave them, but how much was it? 500. I'm sure if there are people who have used that amount of money well, there are very few in this country. Most people had anticipated that once William Ruto got into power, for example, the traders in Githurai, because they were told publicly that when William Ruto gets into power, they'll be given money for their businesses. That the idea of going to Shylock had actually come to an end. But that's not the reality. That was during campaigns. The reality is that everybody is for himself and God is for all of us. They are realizing that they were conned. So, if you ask me, Raila is taking the advantage of the state of the economy. And lastly, perceptual value. I've always opined that politics is a perceptional game. If the residents of the mountain can demonstrate against William Ruto's government, can say Ruto must go, what about Nyanza? What about Nyanza? What about the coastal region which never voted for you? So it means when they'll be going to Kakamega on Saturday, they'll go and tell them that the residents of the mountain were actually happy to see them, were actually happy to receive them. So personally, if you ask me, all these were done as part of perceptional game. I don't know what to think. That's my take. And by the way, William Ruto is in Mombasa as we speak today. And William Ruto was received by ODM governor from Mombasa and ODM members of parliament from Mombasa and the coastal region. In my next video, I'm going to do a critical analysis of William Ruto's trip to Mombasa earlier today. Until that time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye. And by the way, my daughter is still in hospital. She developed some complications. Hopefully she'll do well, and we'll welcome her officially to the family once she's back. Thank you guys so much. May you have a good day. Bye-bye.